Welcome to the Sunday Comics Brunch, where we dine on comics and comics headlines, hosted by Mr. Andersin and Meredith Loughran. Join them and their guests as they go over the comics headlines from this week and their projects, brought to you by the Comics Newswire and Geek Insider. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. And welcome to it. We got a full show today. Let me switch over to Meredith's thing. Jax is playing. We're going to go around the room and let everyone introduce themselves while me and Jax get situated with the musical instruments. Go ahead, Meredith, you're first.
All right, you guys, good morning. This is Meredith Loughran. I am the associate editor over at Geek Insider, as well as the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast, as well as one of the founding members of Terraform Comics. We've got some exciting things that are happening with Continuum. And I am also the project coordinator of Indie Vet. We're actually looking at another one coming up soon. So kind of crazy. I am also the comic noob, and I'm going to take that title and I'm going to keep it with me until I actually deliver my first book, which is not going to be too long in the future. Nice. Fingers crossed, guys. Mm-hmm. So lots to talk about. Let's pass the baton to JD.
How you doing, everyone? My name is JD Calderon. I'm the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles. Currently on Indiegogo, so if you want to go check it out.
Hey, all right, put those up again.
Oh, okay. That's the cover, and that's the other one, and that's the other one. So those all three are available currently on Kickstarter. So you can also find me on YouTube under JD Calderon, where I interview independent creators and sometimes hold panel discussions. And you can also find me in the Facebook and Twitter under JD Calderon.
All right. See, Michael, let's get you up here.
All right, I'm C. Michael Lanning. I'm an independent artist and mad scribbler. I'm over there on Silverline Comics. You can always check me out on Wednesdays over there with their Wednesday Night Wham on Silverline. And, of course, the Comics Newswire is here on Friday. And if you're interested in Silverline, check it out at silverline.com. They've got craft blogs, talk about previous books, and creator profiles. So give them a go. Let's take a look.
All right. Mr. Rob Anderson.
Again, everyone knows who I am.
Oh, come on.
I'm infamous.
This weekend at CromCon, they were doing pitches and stuff like that. Pitch yourself for I almost said
it. All right, here we go. All right. I am Mr. Anderson, and I am the unboxable, uncanny, advocating creator who creates books about fetish monsters and more. You can find me at MrAnderson.com, where all of my works live. You can find how I advocate at Comic Book Advocates, as we do the Comics Newswire. And finally, you can get the music samplings of Jax's, whatever that is, playing. Never, because I wouldn't do that to you. He needs a lot of work. He is no Eddie Van Halen yet, but give him time. You never know. So that's me.
They've got to start somewhere.
It's exactly. Every creator starts somewhere. You don't like your work at first, but
you know what? I don't mind the noisy toys. I never did when my kids were little because I knew exactly where they were. The one time that they were quiet, though, they were on the bunk bed, the top bed, with the jar of Vaseline petroleum jelly, and it was on the ceiling. It was on the walls. I mean, everything was. It was in their hair. I mean, they were grease monsters forever.
Yeah. I've had incidents like that get kind of bloody after a while, so I have to admit that.
Even Dawn dish detergent doesn't get that out, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't really have any topics, but I think Rob is pulling up some of the stuff that we did on the weekend, which was on Friday.
Well, you wanted to do that thing. Let's do that thing at the beginning so it's easier to find.
What thing did I want to do?
You wanted to open something?
Oh, I didn't know we were going to do that at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, well, something like that. Let's make it special. Let's do it at the beginning so it's easy to find. Most people watch at least the beginning of the video, so let's show them some love.
Okay. So I'm not going to dox myself, but it says do not bend. And this is actually from John Celestri, and I've been waiting for this. And like promised, it is before Christmas time. Now, I don't know if any of you know this, but I am expecting my first grandchild right around Christmas time. It's a horrible thing to do to a child. Horrible. I know. I'm a New Year's Eve baby. So I'm going to. Now, it wasn't in the Gemini mailer. I don't know if they come in different sizes or anything like that, but I'm glad to see, even though there was a little bit of bend on the packaging, and I probably just doxed myself. That's all right. The package itself looks like it's unmolested. So it is bagged. And I actually fell in love with Snuffy and Zoe, especially after talking to John about the Genesis story behind them. But these are oversized books. Let me see. All right, so I've got Elysian Fields here, just as a comparison. So, and the covers are more of a cardstock, which is really nice. Let me just put that there. So Snuffy and Zoe. We've got the drawn color. Let's see. We've got another Snuffy and Zoe here. We've got the Ash Can edition, which is
cool.
That is going into my collection. That's not going to the brat. Those other two are. And then Mega Moose maybe when she's a little bit older. Mm-hmm. And this is the one that I've been looking forward to.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Nice.
So I'm very, very glad that it is not molested by the mailer, but this is going to be framed, and I couldn't wait to get that in my hot little hand. So very excited about this. Signed, an actual sketch. It's really I'm thrilled. And then a signed
that's awesome.
thank you note. So. You're gonna be famous, baby.
Can you never say molested on this show again?
No, I cannot promise that.
Remember about you doxing yourself? Don't worry about it. There you go. So Meredith, about you doxing yourself, don't worry about it. We'll be there for lunch.
Yeah. Hey, I can cook a mean lasagna. Or chicken marsala.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So Jax gets these.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got them just for Jax, actually, because he respects books now, so he'll actually respect these. So I figured, it was cool with the toy box. I got these from Kickstarter, not the Indiegogo. I don't know if that matters to the audience. Ooh, Jax just got excited.
Toy?
Yeah, it's a toy box adventure.
Yeah, toy?
Yeah, toy.
I got mine from the Indiegogo campaign.
Take it. These I got for you. These are yours.
Toy.
Toy. See? There you go, John. You can't get anything better than that. A little kid running when he saw it. He wants to see it. He wants to go through it now. Look at that. Really cool, right? And you've met John. Look at that. Review right away. You have a little 5-year-old reviewing your book live. He digs it. Great art quality, by the way. It looks really cool. It reminds me of like when I was a kid. Like these are the comics I would have as a kid. I wish they were on newspaper just so I could have that smell. But here you go, Jack. Go in the bed and read. Go.
Toy?
It's about Toy Box. He's in it. That's it.
Hey.
That's it.
He's good.
That's what you want to see, John. And I got it for him. I really do want to get some copies for myself from John one day. It's been a rough year. And, when you pick between your kid and you always pick your kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's always your kid. But, John, I'll get some collector item ones during the time. I'm going to come try to see you at one point because I hope you make the Comic-Con circle. And I will be traveling in 2021 because we do have – I know people get pissed when you call it a cure, so I won't call it a cure, but we have a vaccine. Why we're not giving it out yet pisses me off, but it's here. There are a couple other companies. I personally think we're being stalled politically, which really makes me mad because I remember during a debate when they said, oh, you're just letting people die. What are you doing right now? Why are there not officials who are like, if it's here, England can do it, We can do it. We literally broke away from those people because we thought they didn't do their jobs right. And we're literally behind them right now. Come on. Wake up. And I like the fact that literally now means literally anything.
That is literally true.
Yeah, thank you for dumbing down the dictionary, people. It makes it so much easier to use word the right way. But yeah, we got some great stuff for you guys today. John, good job. The only thing I would suggest in the future is the Gemini mailer, just because mine got beat up too. I didn't want to dox myself because I've done it enough on these shows. And I get weird people show up every so often. And I'm like, seriously, I will shoot you. I have tons of guns. No, I'm kidding. I kid. I don't send me the NRA like newsletter, and don't send me the reverse. I don't care. My rule about weapons is this: when the zombie apocalypse comes, the first person who comes to my house to raid it is going to give me weapons. I'm waiting for them to bring me my weapons. It's like Grubhub for guns.
Wow. Nice.
I love Florida because it has the stand your ground, you know.
So I'm saying I don't have to.
He's going to show up.
It's almost as bad as Texas. Maybe
You're
not.
here to rob my house. Come on in.
Please do.
Come inside. See what I have around the house hidden.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends was like, "You're deadly enough just being you. You don't need to be armed." There should be a law about anyone giving you a weapon, even a spork, which, by the way, sporks are the most violent thing. I went to high school, and JD knows what I'm talking about with that. The lunch cafeteria, when the fights were with the sporks, they pull pieces of spork out of you. You think it's funny until you see a guy get stabbed with the spork. You get a double stab. You get the first time where it makes the hole, and then it breaks the head off in there, and you get the little shank, and you go right in with the shank.
Oh.
It is messy.
I thought you were saying get in there and then scoop.
That's what I was thinking. Delicious.
I got a metal one, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good for the zombie apocalypse now. I'm just going around with the spork, the metal spork.
Nobody will suspect you.
Just quietly."
See, Rob really does work on horror.
It's funny. Until this year, I never had horror, and it was funny with all the written sins, the Reaper. I like skulls, and I like that kind of darkness, like the more the goth, not necessarily the horror. Like I got messed up by Freddy Krueger. I still have not been able to sleep since I watched that. I'm still trying to catch up sleep since the 80s. That is the most crazy thing. And I watched Halloween when I was an adult. Well, not an adult. I was like 20. You know, when you're barely an adult. And that shit still scared me. Like, because that dude don't stop.
No.
Like, there was something about the fact that this guy just quiet and just coming at you. Like, not running. He's just...
Then with that painted, no painted William Shatner face, that's scary in itself.
Dude, he walks like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. And he's just coming for you. It's menacing. And I was like, all right. The rest, I don't care. Jason, I'm like, drive away. Drive away. Go the other way. Go the other way. Go. But that Mike Myers guy, man, he looks like he'll fucking follow you. Like, that dude's like a detective. Batman's the bad guy. Don't matter where you go.
No.
You get under a new identity. He'll be the one knocking on the door with fucking pillows and shit for your hotel room. Like, that, he will not, like, and if you're a virgin who just lost your virginity, you're dead.
Oh, yeah, forget it. It's over with.
He's a Puritan. All right. Stay a virgin, kids. If he's around, you'd be like, I've only taken it in the butt, so I'm still a virgin.
Well, that went sideways real fast.
That took a turn.
But what's funny is everyone in this room
That is not
knows
advice.
about that, has
That is
heard
not advice,
that.
kids.
They have heard that. No, you're not a virgin. You're just a whore. Or you like it in the butt, to be fair.
Just doing it wrong.
Katie's like, I'm so glad I've been away for so long.
Aren't you glad that you're here, JD? We missed
Oh, yeah,
you.
of course.
He's like, I remember why I don't come on these shows now.
Hey, listen, for me, what did it for me was Pinhead and Cinnabites.
Oh, yeah.
Pain or pleasure, which is like, Rob's wheelhouse. He's like, yeah, baby.
Sometimes you want to play prison. I mean, what was funny? Like, growing up, like, Pinhead had a lot of BDSM stuff in it.
Yeah.
So I know that there are people into BDSM who watch that shit and we're like, okay, if you took away the fact that they were slicing him right now, and you made it more friendly, it'd probably be a good scene. You got people critiquing it like, would that really kill a person, or could that be fun?
Hellraiser came NC-17 instead of just
I put up the warning. It's all your fault.
Yeah, I think it was the fish hooks for me,
Yeah, Sunday Comics Brunch on the OnlyFans site next.
He talks about the fish hooks, but then people started hanging themselves with fish
I
hooks.
actually knew somebody who did that.
And the origin of them hanging from fish hooks comes from that fucking movie. Supposedly. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good morning. How was your
Are you awake yet?
Did you go to church? Now you have to go again. You should watch the program. Just get back.
You're gonna just say the rosary a couple of times. You're good.
Get back right in the car. Go right back and be like, I turned Rob's show on this morning. Oh, fucking 1,000 Hail Marys for you.
Yeah. Like, there have been Hellraiser comics, so it falls in if it's within the parameters,
Thank you, JD.
There you go.
We're justified.
Exactly.
I was saying the other day, it's better. There's different rules for being written and different rules for saying it, right? So
Yeah. So, Rob, what's going on in the world? Oh, we lost JD.
I told you, man, that not bringing up the anal lube was a bad idea. He's mad because he doesn't think that we care and we lube before we go.
wow.
I like Michael's look on that one. They're like, this will be the last brunch they brought you on Facebook. It will now only be on OnlyFans from this point on. Good job, honey. There you go.
All right. And he's
hitting
back.
the wrong damn button. I meant to hit this. So here we go.
Shorty's asleep, baby.
Rob, what do we got going on with the news?
Bringing it up right now, boss lady.
Yeah. Need a deeter from where this conversation could go.
And I could finally show off the top. Like last week, I spent the whole show working on these little light bulbs. We got to the end of the show, and I forgot to show it. I got distracted. So here it is. Happy holidays, everyone. Comic book advocates, where the love and passion for comics comes first. I should have been an announcer. Should have. I got the looks for radio, too. So the Comics News Wire is here. This week we had an exciting week, and we did the week ended together. I'm going to be putting in my commentary as we go throughout the show today, which will wind up on Geek Insider by tomorrow. So you'll see why the headlines were picked for this week. On Monday, here's what we did. The weekend, here's the headlines we had. And you can see all the videos from the week as well by going to our site. So Pops Van Zandt, we could talk about this, Meredith. I think, JD, you were part of this, weren't you? And
Yeah,
Michael, weren't you?
No, I didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it? Okay. This happened yesterday. And Meredith, if you want, go ahead and tell the kids what they missed if they didn't see it. And you can find it now on this week's Comics Newswire in our newsroom.
Yeah. Well, if you head over to Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt, it's a long YouTube link, but get over there and subscribe to his channel. He does CromCon, and it is the first weekend usually of the month. So he's already getting ready to do next month's. So CromCon 9, Rob and I were able to sit and we launched the show, and I want to say we took about an hour to talk about elevator pitches, the importance of marketing oneself, and really doing a good job, because what you put out there is what people listen to. You want to keep it clear and concise. You want them to get to a point where they're asking questions. You want to make them laugh, because it helps to engage them. So when they're feeling good about you, most likely they're going to look at your books. So there's a lot of information there, and they had a lot of really good guests. So if you tune in, I know for the first video, I think it was about 6 hours long. It was an all-day event, and everybody had about 15-minute slots to pitch their books. That's what he wanted to do. It was like a one-day thing to get it done, and he was able to get a lot of creators on there to introduce themselves to a new audience. So it was really cool. Make sure that you head over to Pops Van Zandt's Comic Related Madness. So
So-
that he does a lot of advocacy over there too for comics.
So did any of them stand out to you that you remember today, or?
There was there were quite a few where I was like, okay, I've got to leave. But I was like, oh, I know this person. Mar V was there, and he was talking about the Sin Killer. Daphne was there talking about Ego Raven. And then I was kind of in and out throughout the day, just popping in to see who was there, because I've been on a really tight deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, I only got to see y'all a couple of minutes
Mhm.
at the beginning. I didn't get to check it out later on. So
Yeah,
but
but that's a great thing is you can head over to the YouTube channel and watch the replay. And I don't know if he's got. I think if you go to Comic Related Madness, you should see the calendar or the timetable, so you'll know exactly who's speaking when.
so this is still going on, or?
No, I think it was just the one-day event. Good
Okay.
morning, Russell Allen. Thank you for tuning in to the live show. We should get you on here.
Did you not ask JD what he did on the show? I mean, JD was there.
JD, were you there? No, I thought you said you weren't there.
No,
I
Michael
saw
was.
Daphne.
No, that wasn't.
JD was there. I said, Michael, did
Oh.
you? But go ahead, JD. I'm sorry for Meredith.
I'm so rude today. You know what? I haven't had my coffee.
Go get coffee. We'll be here when you get back.
That's all right. I mean, I just pitched my book. So I was just pitching my current Indiegogo, the Oswald Chronicles. So, my time with Clive. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I did on there.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What's your pitch?
Jesus Christ, you gonna make me do that again?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do the really short one, right? So here we go. So currently on Indiegogo, we have My Time with Clive, where Oswald travels through a dream. It finds himself battling demons and rescuing angel babes. So there you go, Rob. That's it. That's all you get from me now. I'm not prepared for this.
For not being prepared, not bad.
No.
That was not actually bad. I give you credit. We were talking about. Go ahead, Michael.
The Angel Babes really pique your interest right off the bat, so that's really good. Not to mention, the artwork on those covers is just fantastic.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
comics, right? Half of it's visual, and I tell people that. This is next week's story, but I'll bring it up quickly, and you guys can chime in. It's been a big. It's been bigger than even I expected it to be. News came out. I don't know. We didn't cover this on Friday, I don't think. So on Friday, big hurt feelings. Plastic Man was made into a girl, and I've never seen so many grown men cry about a flexible woman before. I mean, I really started to reassess my friends when they were like, I can't believe they're turning a flexible man into a woman. I'm like, what? What is wrong? What? And then they're like, you don't understand. I'm a Plastic Man fan. No, you're
not. No.
And I even dropped it on someone today. I was like, there's literally another guy called Elastic Man. Tell me which one is which. And they're like,
right. And then they're both DC, aren't they? So
fuck you all. You don't give a shit.
for good measure, we'll throw in Mr. Fantastic. There you go.
If you saw the thread on Facebook, you would see Rob's reaction. It was just like, oh, you're a fan. You're a fan. When's the last time you actually watched it? In the 80s, he's like, that's 40 years ago, dude.
I don't, and I like Plastic Man. Don't get me wrong. I got him back when he was a cartoon when I was growing up as a little kid. I like him, but here's the deal. He doesn't translate well. He's a zany, off-the-wall character. So here, I'll blow your mind. What if the whole time he's been a woman? Because he can shapeshift. What if he's been, no, I'm being serious. What if he's like a woman who was like a really badass villain that just disappeared that was a female, and she's been hiding amongst the heroes the whole time and doing things that we never knew?
You know what? Maybe if they actually had that storyline, the people wouldn't have a problem with it. But I have my doubts they're going to bring that.
But you know what I mean? But that's surely what you could do with the character. Because this character clearly doesn't work. They're not taking something, and I understand when you take something that's very popular and you just suddenly make it a woman without explanation.
Yeah.
You know, like when you just, we're going to just kill Tony and make a female Iron Man. Well,
I'm gonna be honest with you. We had this discussion before on a Silverline. You know, the power in theory, it sounds really cool, but when you look at it visually, it looks stupid. Except for when you have a female doing it. When you look at Elastigirl and The Incredibles, it doesn't seem as ridiculous for some reason as it does with the man. For a man, it just doesn't. It doesn't mesh with. I was never a Mr. Fantastic fan either. So
I can explain it to you.
I was gonna invoke Elastigirl. You know, I'm like, we've already got one.
Yeah. No, I can explain it to you, and it's really simple. We're used to seeing women contort themselves.
What?
Whether it be cheerleaders, whether it be ballerinas, this is something we have become very used to watching a female contort her body. Even, and I know it's a PG show, even sexually, we're used to women being more. When you watch the library of classic television found under the rated NC-17 section of your internet, you see the way the women bend, and that's kind of something that turns men on. There are so many men who are watching Elastigirl with dirty thoughts. Their kid is all excited, and they're just like, what could I do to that? Yeah, and it's just that's what guys are. It's why we like boobs on covers. It's literally evolution. You are telling me that this girl can make her boobs bigger and smaller on cover? Come on, guys! Like I'm divorcing all men who had a problem with that. All men who had a problem with that. I'm in. DC, take my money. Also, I'll write the fucking thing, DC. You give it to me, I'll give you some shit, man. You'll love it.
Also, the size of her hips. Jesus.
We'll call her Mistress Rubber Band. I'm telling you, watch out, Avengers. Here comes the next big gross.
That's part of that. That's part of that dark line DC was going for.
Save some for later.
Goodness gracious.
There you go.
But seriously, like, I'll let it go around the room for a minute. Are you guys really offended when they change the gender of a character just on face value? Like, I'll wait to see what they do to it. But I mean, this was to me a D-list character that I actually like. I'm a fan of, and I'd like to see them try to do something with the character, make it interesting. And to be honest with you, sometimes I do think characters would be better as a different gender. When I found out that Venom was originally supposed to be a woman, I was like, fucking missed opportunity. If Venom had been a woman out the gate, that would have been brilliant, especially if you wound up finding Gwen Stacy underneath it. Because that was the original thought of it, was Gwen Stacy hadn't actually, or she was like a clone, because they did the clone thing and they were going to bring her back, and she had the memories. Someone showed her that Spider-Man killed her, so she's gone insane with the symbiote. How awesome would have that been? Yeah. And especially if they didn't show it was a female at first. If they just had the Venom male body, because with the symbiote, you could have hid that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
See, as a writer, I see opportunity, and all you get is these guys like, oh man, it's always forced diversity. It's always forced diversity. But no, there's 50% of women in the world, guys. Maybe there should be 50% of women heroes. I'm just saying, like, think about that.
But you know, this is actually not anything new, because you look at Captain Marvel. The old Captain Marvel and everything, he was a man when it first started. And then we kind of went into having Carol Danvers or whoever take over that mantle. It wasn't really that big of a deal back then, not to most people. So the idea, again, especially Plastic Man, who hasn't had a following in God knows how long. I don't care, personally.
What do you got, JD?
I mean, for me, like, as far as Plastic Man goes, I'm not necessarily. I was never a big fan, so I don't have any stake in this. But I remember when they did introduce the Jane Thor. You know, when it first happened, you know, I was like, what's the big deal? I mean, this has been ripped off from a What If comic that was done like 20 years ago. So it's like, you know, it's not a big deal. It's been done before, right? And I was like, it'll last 12 issues, and Thor will be back. It's no big deal. It's a comic book. But it did last 3 years. It really got long in the tooth. That's the only problem that I had with it, is that the Jason Aaron stretched it out. And he stretched it out probably a little bit too long. That was the only issue I had with it.
I will say, as a follow-up, though, I think the biggest problem with Thor, it would have been fine if they hadn't been doing it across the board. At that particular moment, Marvel had suddenly thrown females into the center, and not by creating a new character, not by establishing their old characters, but by simply gender swapping.
Yeah.
And that's where it became a problem, I think, is that people were like, okay, that was an office meeting.
Yeah,
There's an office meeting behind that move.
It became a publicity stunt instead of rather being just a plot story or plot line. So,
and it
was a beautiful story in the end of the day when you find out all the aspects of it. So, I mean, it got buried, and of course, Ironheart never did what it was supposed to. Probably because it never got the chance to breed the way it really should have breed naturally, slowly. She should have been a mentee of Tony Stark, like slowly build that, but instead of build Tony and just make him a hologram. No.
JD, what were you going to say?
The other thing was that she took on his name Thor, and I'm like, look, that's the only part that I had a little bit of a problem with, because I was like, she should have become the goddess of thunder. Like, that's what she should have become, because that's the mantle she's taken, the goddess of thunder, not necessarily Thor. Because I'm like, that's the dude's name. That's the name his mama gave him or his daddy gave him. Like, how do you take my powers and then you become, JD? Come on, how is that? You understand? It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, no, she became the goddess of thunder. That's what she should have become.
Well, that kind of throws back in the day when there was the Marvel thing where he was a guy who could become Thor, and Thor was more of an avatar that a human could wear. And you had the powers of Thor, and you didn't actually become the God of Thunder. You were merely transformed into the God of Thunder. Now, if she's a female, you would think that she would transform into a female version of Thor. So it does make sense if you look at it on just a basic level of what Marvel had already established. But you're right. If she's supposed to now be Thor, Thor's going around like, wait a minute, I thought you were a chick. No, I'm still a guy. I thought you were like transitioned or something. So I saw this female Thor over there. No, stop it, guys. Stop making fun of me. Imagine how much she got picked on at the Avengers thing. She's a better Thor than you. I'm just saying. The way she holds that hammer, she's better than you, Thor. He's getting picked on all the time. Like, I do see it. Like, did they take his name away during the period? That would have been funny. If they're like, no, you can't be Thor anymore. You're John.
No, he became Odin's son.
No, after the last movie, he became Beer Gut. That was his new nickname.
Well, I'm going to put Russell Allen on the big screen. Introduce yourself, and then any thoughts on this whole gender thing?
I'm Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. I do podcasts, creator interviews on my channel on Sundays and Tuesdays. And I also have my first book right now up on Kickstarter. But my whole thing on the gender swap is why. Let's just create new characters. Let's stop rehashing old characters that have been beat to death for the last 60 years. Let's come up with something fresh. I mean, that's all I pretty much have to say on it.
Yep, I completely agree with that. I'm like, why are we regurgitating? I mean, between Plastic Man, between Jane turning into Thor, why can't we make original characters? And then again, from my perspective, it's like, okay, that's fine and good. Why can't she be her own woman? Why can't she just be like Super Jane?
Exactly.
You know?
I can tell you right now, it's marketing.
Yeah.
It's pre-established marketing. The reason is the companies need to make money, and we want to see comics continue to be made. They need cash cows. Like it or not, every company that's big needs cash cows. You have to understand that. You have to go with it. It's why we see the reboots of all these characters, because it keeps the fandom alive. I'm okay with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot after the last reboot, because I hated the last reboot, and I'd like to see a new reboot now. Thundercats, I would love to see them erase Roar.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It gets us involved. We're talking about a character no one gave a shit about for 40 years.
Yeah.
And suddenly people are caring. So why are they doing it? This is it. We're excited. Good and bad. We're excited right now. We're talking about it.
I don't know. I think these days, people are just waking up every day and say, what are we offended about today?
Well,
let's make it trend.
That does happen. But I have to agree with Rob on this one, because can you imagine trying to put out a new character right now? How are you going to gain interest for that character? At least with this one, you say, Plastic Man's not doing anything. Let's use that, change it around, and see if we can sell off of that. I get that. I understand that.
Well,
I also understand Russell's point of view. We should make new characters, but we are talking about a big company business that that's got so many books out with established characters already, trying to introduce a new character right now is not going to get them their money, as opposed to just trying to corner that SJW market, I guess, with the whole female thing.
I think you can rip off a bunch of indie publishers and just name your character Punchline.
Oh wow.
That's what I think.
Yeah, but how many indie creators are ripping off Marvel, ripping off DC? See, we get back into that. Like, this is where everyone puts their dick on their table and goes, "Mine's bigger." It's not. This is the industry. We have to sell comics. We have to be able to sell comics to the fans, and the fans tell us what they want, and they'll tell us what they want with this plastic rubber band, whatever her name's going to be. Because I know Plastic Girl could have a bad connotation variant.
Rubber chick.
Well, see, but DC and Marvel's been doing that to each other for years. I mean, Quicksilver, the Flash. So it could go. We could go on all day about it. Yeah. So that's just that's almost comic book lore in a way. Just that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, but that Punchline was an actual name that guys were using.
Yeah, that's a little much.
Yeah,
that's a little much.
Yeah,
I agree with that one. Yes.
Actually, Punchline was something used even earlier than the guys in indie were using it, as there was a character back in the day. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of Eisner's characters. If you look up, so I mean, again, here. Mine's bigger. Stop. Make it better. Literally, make it better and own the copyright. Who's got the copyright? Guarantee you, DC did not do that. Not looking up copyrights. And again, you can have characters of the same name, by the way. You just have to, they can't be too similar. If there's too similar, sue DC, get paid. They'll pay you. They'll pay. If you make enough noise, they'll pay you, make your money. But this is comics. They rip each other off. We're talking about Plastic Man, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, this happens every single day. You have Catwoman, Black Cat. I wonder, is there anything there similar?
Coca-Cola, Pepsi.
Well, I mean, Pepsi's like motor oil for humans, so I don't know if they really compare. It's what you drink when, unfortunately, the restaurant has bad choices.
Oh, wow. From New York. I thought New York, that's what they drink was Pepsi.
Well, my whole take on the thing is with why they need to come up with new characters is they're rehashing stuff from 60 years ago. They complain about how the kids in today's market don't really care about comic books. It's like, because you're trying to sell them rehashed old versions. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them that maybe their parents handed down the books to them, but the times have changed, interests have changed, and kids really aren't into the same things their parents are and their grandparents are. We need to come up with something fresh that's going to grab their attention and be like, hey, comics are awesome. Let's read them,
Yet every superhero movie that has made money is from characters made in the 60s, if not earlier.
Yeah.
Let us not forget. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm all for new content. Don't get me wrong. The Boys is fire to me. The Boys is like an exciting step. We've had such great franchises showing up. But let's not forget, we need Batman out there to continue to get the kids hooked. So as those kids are getting hooked, we can get them in. We want kid readers. We have to start writing books for kids. It's just that simple. John Celestri, today, we have these. We unbox these. Here we go. We got his books. I think it's upside down here. We have his books on the show today. He's doing it. He's bringing in new fans for us so we can convert them later. That's awesome. I love that. But we can't just go, oh, I don't get why a company would go to something that's a household name and try to play with it. They're skipping. They're trying to get to make money. But during Plastic Man, we can have a brand new character. How many new characters has Batman introduced over the years? Honestly, how many new characters do we now see? Because a character that's been made in the I want to say 40s is when he showed up, if I'm not mistaken. It was like, it's either 30s or 40s. I don't remember if he made the 30s.
Maybe 38. I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought 38 too, believe it or not. So I know he was around in the 40s, absolutely. Either way, this character has given us just a lineage of amazing new characters that have come from an old concept. So these old concepts can give us new. Look at the Flash TV series. They're coming up. They're using all different characters, but they're also creating newer ones. Now we're getting these new characters that we not necessarily have seen. We're getting updated versions. And I said it today. And this is my biggest problem with this topic in general. When they do it to a female and make it a male, no one cries. What do you call? Let me ask the whole room. What do you call an overpowered man? Superhero. An overpowered character. What do you call an overpowered character?
Superman.
Yeah, right.
What do you call an overpowered female character?
Superwoman.
No, it's Mary Sue.
Yeah.
So already there's a derogatory term for one gender versus the other. And we need to look at that. As an industry, we need to look at why that's okay. And why when you empower a female, and I love a powerful female when it's done right. I'm absolutely on the camp. It has to be done right. Just don't overpower a chick. Like, I'm sorry, but in Marvel's movies, Captain Marvel, she was like a cardboard character. And I like the actress, but the character in that movie is like a cardboard cutout. I'm a hero. I'll be right back. Make her a fucking robot, why don't you?
Well, that's the thing about a Mary Sue, though. Mary Sue isn't necessarily an overpowered character. Mary Sue is a character that doesn't struggle. That's the issue. She could, even with Superman, he could have his struggle with his identity and everything. I'll give you an example of a Mary Sue would be Daisy Ridley's character and, oh my gosh, Rey from Star Wars. Everything she put her hands on, she was just awesome at. And yeah, Superman has that issue too, but he's got emotional problems and kryptonite. But an overpowered female doesn't necessarily have to be a Mary Sue, but you have to give that character character development, really. Yeah. Any female that comes out the box, or male for that matter, but even female that comes out the box, knowing how to do everything and everything's just easy for them, it's not going to be interesting to anybody. That's why I don't know if Superman's even selling anymore, is it?
Yeah, it is. No kidding. Superman makes more money than most. But you're not addressing my thing. You just went on this whole thing explaining to me why a female character is that way. I can name a dozen male characters that fit that, but we still don't have a term for it. We have to acknowledge that there is no term in the reverse faction, and there's something there. The fact that we're calling out these female characters, Roku from Dragon Ball, like fucking just overpowered nonsense. He shits rainbows and kills people. Like, this is how powerful the character. He's a god.
Goku?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but he was killed.
You've never heard of a Gary Stu?
He was killed. So I mean,
Gary Stu.
Gary Stu.
Yeah, you've never heard of a Gary Stu?
No,
it's the same thing as a Mary Sue.
No, I've never did, and I think you just made it up.
I did not make it up.
I would love to see you make it a thing. I would absolutely love to see you make it a thing.
No.
Please make it up. Please make it up.
No. I'm telling you, Gary Stu. Look.
He's doing a Google search, folks. He's doing a Google search.
See?
Yeah, he's right. He's actually right. But it's nothing. It's new. It is very new.
It's not new. I've seen it around for a few years. I mean,
it's in the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, it's relatively new within probably the last 10, 15 years, but it's,
I'm pretty sure it's some male who was like, hey, make something real quick so someone can't point out that we're being misogynists.
Well, real quick,
because I've never heard it. You're the first person, and I literally cover comic books. Today I learned something.
Well, Mary Sue,
hold on, Michael. That JD picked it up just for this day. He knew he'd be on a show one day, so he 10 years ago made this character Gary Stu. But we also know something more important. JD's the one who made Mary Stu.
Where are my royalties?
But see, Mary Sue, even still, that term Mary Sue is in the mainstream conception. Yeah. Only over the past few years. Mary Sue was kind of a term that was used amongst writers and everything for several years. So it's just now kind of in the public consciousness now. So,
but I do think
Gary Stu, we'll get that right now. We're going to start right now, making sure that Gary Stu becomes part of the
it's going to be a thing. I'm going to make the thing all day long. Now that I know it's a real thing, it's going to be a popular thing. But what I'm trying to say is that we can't keep judging things without seeing it. We haven't seen anything. This was an announcement. You should go. Like when they said they were going to turn Batman black, the first thing I said is, well, how are you going to change the character? Talk to me. You can't just make him black and just, okay, he's the same character. Where are the fundamental changes you're going to make within the character? Because I've seen that happen. Making Gordon just suddenly black, it does change the character. Because Gordon's whole past was entrenched in the fact that he was this Irish cop. So you've changed his entire personality. Are you going to acknowledge that? And why, at that point, if you're going to go out of your way to do so much, why still make him Gordon? Why not make him a whole new character? And that I always ask that question. Batman, it kind of makes sense because he's a billionaire. He would do something. But would Gordon make sense? Would his name even be Gordon?
I want to say it does, actually, and I'll tell you why it does. Because because you just said it right there. The Irish, the same background that an Irish person has is almost not identical. So don't get me wrong, but it's the same type of background where no dogs were allowed, and neither were Irish in some places in buildings and stuff like that. So that still downtrodden, person, that downtrodden heritage is still there, even when you change Gordon to black. So I mean, I could see that.
No, I've actually thought the same thing when we've talked about this, that I could see the comparisons. I think what I'm just saying is you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
We've spent the last year literally talking about how race matters, and let's treat it like it matters. Let's not just trade these characters without an explanation. Not explaining why you did it, but explaining how it changed the character. Let's see that you understand the experience in this world is different for everybody.
Well, understanding the backstory, having a history there, and what prompted it. That should all be incorporated into a story arc so that people can follow along. To just snap your fingers and just say we're doing it because that's the trend is not cool. But if you can incorporate a really good story behind it, whether it is maybe an apprentice or something like that who comes up and takes over, that's interesting. But not just for the sake of pandering, because that will not age well. No. I don't think.
No, I agree. You're looking at the blaxploitation films of the 70s and everything don't have a good limelight on them now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and how things age really is something we need to start looking at. And I love the fact, and we did this on the news. There was an episode of what was the show? Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, I believe it was, and his friends. So there was this one where they have Sunfire in it. I think it was Spider-Man and it was Spider-Man and his friends. And I watched the show growing up, and they had Sunfire, and I actually remember the episode. How crazy is that? And they had him come off very stereotypical to the point where now that it's on Disney Plus, they explained at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Hey, we made mistakes as a society. We made mistakes earlier. We acknowledge those, but we still want you to watch it. I think you learn in those moments, and it kind of educates people that, hey, it's okay to change. Look, people in the past have changed. You always hear about morals. I'm watching The West Wing, and I know it's older. Don't give me spoilers right now because I'm just on season 2. My sister already told me something. My heart's broken. So I'm watching West Wing, and there was this one moment where he just goes off about with the religious people, and they're quoting why it's not okay to be gay. Because remember, when West Wing was filmed, this was a very anti-gay time in our history with a lot of people coming out, but Hollywood was very positive about gay people. And I grew up during this, and I was on the side. I didn't understand why anyone hated anyone for being gay. And then they had the religious thing. And it was funny because you see this moment in West Wing where the president stands up to these people and says, so let's listen, should I go beat my wife because she used 2 different fabrics? And if you don't know what that means you didn't read the Bible. Because there's something in there about the fabrics you're allowed to mix and match with each other. Believe it or not, it is really there. Also, stoning someone, stoning your daughter is a thing you can do. Selling her into slavery is a thing you can do. And it was that moment where we suddenly realized, and I read a book recently by the poet. I want to say, I got to look it up. I'll look it up while we're doing this. But I was listening to something he said, and he said that sometimes we need to recheck our morals every so often to remember if we still want to do it, because human beings, we're kind of on auto, aren't we? A lot of times we react without thinking why we're reacting. How many times have you changed your mind when someone really told you something, and when you look back at why you believed it, you were like, wait, I don't understand why I ever believed in that. Now that I look at it, it doesn't make sense. And I just think that we need to start breathing before we react, is what I'm saying. Before we say this is going to be the worst thing ever because Plastic Man's not going to have a penis anymore, maybe we'll be like, well, how hot's this actress going to be that's going to be flexible? No one knows what to say after that.
I was on mute. We're actually going to take a really quick bump. I think it's about 20 seconds. So if you need to grab something to drink or take a really quick pee-pee break, now's the time. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted to be part of a writer's room? Come join us on Creativity in Progress every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Twitch and YouTube, the CIP network, where creativity comes to life.
Go ahead.
And we're back. I told you it was going to be really quick. So, Rob, what is the next headline?
Meredith just doesn't want to get back to this. Fine, Meredith. Fine.
I think we've beat that.
It's
We've
the 30 minutes.
I did. It was on my mind, Meredith. It was on my mind. What are the best books to give to the comic book community? That, of course, Gamal has the brand new The Business of the Independent Comic Book Publishing, which Meredith has, and I'm going to steal from her because I didn't get my copy because I was broke and at the moment couldn't afford it. So I'm going to steal her copy and read it unlike her. No, I'm actually kidding around aside. He said he was going to do an audio copy, and I really want to get the audio copy. A lot of the stuff I do is about audio copy. So I want to go around the room right now. I think this is a powerful moment. What are the books that you guys suggest off the top of your head? And I have a whole section about it on our site, which you can get by going to geteducated.space. Geteneducation.space, actually. Geteneducation.space. So let's go down the line. Michael, you're first.
I'm looking at some of the ones that he has here. I thought was interesting when you see that plot and structure book that's on that picture right there. And all of those books are from the, I think, Writer's Digest, which is really good. The character dialogue will definitely help anybody trying to establish and with comics, that's the way that you establish your characters is through dialogue. So that really helps. The character development was really good. Of course, I get these books and I don't remember the names of them to help save my life most of the time. Let's see. I do have
Michael, yours were the ones you read. You don't
like any? No, and some of these are actually some of the ones I read. That's what I'm trying to I try to remember. Let's see. All
right, we'll come back to
well, look, there's Framed Ink. that works, and don't ask me the name because I think it's a French guy. So there we go. Framed Ink. That's a good book. That.
All right, JD.
All right. Well, what's funny is I haven't read many of these because the thing is, when I started, none of this stuff existed.
That's not actually true.
You don't know how old I am.
Making comics, that's been around for 20 years.
Right. I was around a lot longer than that, Rob.
Doing comics?
Yeah. I started in 91.
I thought that book was from the 90s. Am I wrong?
Listen, you just said 20 years.
Okay, so I'm dating myself. All right, stop making me feel old, all right, JD? Now you're making me feel old.
Right. So I started, I published my first book in 92, but I started like writing when I was 8. And, I read other books on writing, but none of these. Like I read Stephen King's book on writing.
I read tablets. JD had tablets. That's how he read.
We had scrolls. We had scrolls.
Scrolls.
yes, scrolls. Yeah. We're from the hood. We would peel them off the back of our defeated enemies. Stephen King's book on writing, I think it's an excellent book. There was a book there was a very thin, very tiny book. I have it somewhere, by Aldous Budrus. He was a renowned editor, and he would literally read every submission he would get. And this man, they said, was like legendary for this. He would get like 200 submissions a month, and this guy read them all. And they were all short stories. And he produced this magazine. I forgot the name of it. I don't think Mr. Budgers is with us anymore. God rest his soul. But, the guy was incredible. He wrote a very thin book on writing. That's actually a very good book. And then there's always this, which is more of a grammar book. This is Strong Junior, E.B. White. I tell everybody.
Hold it up.
Yeah. As a writer, you should be reading this at least once a year, maybe if not twice. This is an excellent book. But this is, like I said, this is more on grammar, but it is very important.
Yeah.
Russell, what do you got?
I honestly haven't started reading any of these yet, so I don't really have
books you read
to say
in your creative journey. Have you read anything creatively that has inspired you?
Yeah, Brian Jakes, his line of Redwall books, when I was younger, was one of the major books that I got into. I mean, I read tons of books. I mean, everybody read Animorphs and Goosebumps and, books like that. But it was really cool. I come across Mossflower. It was an old hardback book in the library. It looked like it had been well read, and it was old and worn. I was like, this book looks okay. And I read it, and now I own every book up until he died because, I mean, they're beautiful. The way that he did the animal characters in there and, the story behind them. It was one of those stories that you would get in there and you would read it and you'd be like, you had no idea what was going to happen. You had no idea what they were going to do or what was going to happen to them. You're just like, hey, here's this character. We're going to follow you on a journey and see what happens. And it was great because, he never followed the thing of, the hero always wins. There were sometimes the hero won and there were sometimes the hero died. And, I think we need that in books. I don't think that every book should be a happy ending. And I really enjoyed the series because of that.
All right, Meredith, you're up. What did you read that inspired you?
Actually, right now, as the comic noob, I am reading just independent comics and seeing what I like, what I don't, and kind of using them all as guides. So, accepting the things that look good and rejecting the ones that I don't like and seeing how well I can incorporate that into my own work. So I don't really have a book that's out there. I'm basically taking everything that I see as far as, like my personal style. Right now I'm working on a horror. But I've got other books that, stories that I'm getting ready to script out. And I don't have a limit as far as genre or what I want to write for. I do a little bit of everything. So for me, it's just basically I'm trying to stay away from Marvel and DC comics. I'm sticking with the indies. I think that's really a wealth of knowledge and basically the ability to reach out to a lot of these creators and pick their brain.
All right. Well, I'll give you just what's literally on my playlist for my Audible account. Having a kid who demands my attention, and I'm sure people at the gym think I'm like blasting out to like Disturbed and have all this heavy metal playing, but a lot of times I have books playing, believe it or not, while I'm doing my physical therapy. So here are some of the things that I suggest. Unlearn by the Humble the Poet. That was actually really good. It really makes you re-examine the way you look at life, as does How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I know I'm saying his name wrong. It's one of those names I can't do. Make Your Bed, a great book. There was this speech a guy had given that inspired all these people, and he wound up making a novel out of it. And it was a really good novel. And some of these you'll notice are motivating things. They're reminders of how to control your life, because you also have to have a balance of creative and life. A lot of people struggle with that. So make sure that you're also working on yourself too. Marvel Comics, The Unseen and Untold Story. Know your history about comics. There's so much in the comics history. Let's see. The Will Eisner. Oh, you have to read the Will Eisner autobiography. There's just so much that will teach you of all the world of comics and men. It was actually first produced in French, but a really good read. The Psychology of Selling. I really suggest this. It goes into the ability to actually give you guys insight to what people buy. Me and Meredith were talking about that, about smiles and stuff like that. I even have a couple dating books I went through just to learn some of the keys that they say about flirting with people, because you can actually use that as a salesman. And that's what we are when we're pitching our comics, right? We're salesmen and saleswomen. We forget that. Batman.
You're all hookers.
The Batman in Psychology. Let's see. Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, which, again, you'll learn a lot about states being able to converse with other people and being part of a conversation. Because in this industry, you're going to deal with a lot of people, and you're not always going to like the mix you get. So learning to navigate through difficult moments is good. The ego is your enemy. Is the enemy. Sorry. Let's see. Slugfest was a great thing about history as well. Lincoln, again, a great autobiography if you want to learn about someone who dealt with a lot of harsh things and how he handled them. And let's see. And I reread some of these. The Way of the Wolf, definitely something I think that you guys should read. It is the guy who got arrested. He's the one they made the Wolf of Wall Street movie for. He says so many things you don't realize. How much we're embedded to be sheep from day one, how schools make us how we are. He goes into that and tells you the truth is how to exploit it. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but it helps you with your pitches. It helps you understand the business side of what comics are. And finally, I wanted to mention the emotional intelligence book. I think that everyone should understand everyone else's emotions, because you're gonna have to learn to deal with people that are difficult and how to engage with people who are shy, and understanding that is a great thing. So these are just my suggestions. There's some more I skipped over, but I went with my top hits.
Well, Rob, make sure that you send me that list. I know that it's up on the website, but I also want to put it into the show notes as well for people who are tuning in on the replay. But I did want to welcome the listening audience. We do see your comments. We don't always put them up here. Nita Lanning, thank you for tuning in. Mike James Bengston. We've got Trish Bengston tuning in. Let's see, Marvi, Bon dia. And let's see. Trish has a...
You want to run the comments, Meredith?
No, because a lot of them have passed. So,
Okay.
But we'll make sure that they're available for replay. But Trish has a really great question here. So, what indie titles would you recommend besides each other's? Because friends always say each other's books, and nothing like a little bit of nepotism, right?
Well, here's the thing, Trish. What do you like? You're asking me to suggest something to me. Tell me literally in the comments, what do you like, and I can help you. Because I'm not going to pitch to you something you're not going to like. Why would I bother wasting your time or even my time? Tell me what you like, and I'll tell you the creator I think you should follow. If anyone else wants to throw a name out, I will, but I'd rather hear what Trish wants to read and what she's into. So if anyone wants to throw out a name of a book, go for it. Mike?
Trish is into a lot of different books. They like the books from Tom Hutchison, Big Dog Inc., a lot of the Princess versus Zombies and books like that. Sorry, I'm friends with Mike and Trish both. An indie title that I'd like to throw out there that I was turned on to by one of the gaming streamers, the Randalorian. We just started chatting about comics one day, and he's like, "Have you ever read Invincible?" And I was like, "No, I've never really read that." And I know it's kind of not like an indie title, but it's a really good story. And it was funny because a couple months after he turned me onto it, and I picked up a few of the first books, I end up reading that Amazon is doing the animated series for Invincible, and it looks amazing.
That's a good question. Now you said that it's not really an indie book, but if it's still Image, I guess it really is indie because they still have to deal with they do a lot of their own marketing, the creators themselves. So
yeah, well, and I mean, I say that's an indie book, and then some people get mad about that. And
yeah,
so
because it's got an eye on it. That's why.
Yeah,
but they are, because they do own their rights. They are able, they whenever they do make a film out of something, it's them. And even when you look at which is Robert Kirkman, who did Invincible. And he's got it's Image that publishes it, but it's Skybound Comics that puts it out, which is in itself independent. I don't know when you get to that level where it's like, oh, you're not independent anymore, you're big business. But I think really we kind of forget that Image is not like Marvel and DC. So I would still call it an independent book. I think that's a good label for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I consider it, and it's a really good story. I was like, I'll check it out, and I like I said, I got the first few issues, and I'm totally down for getting the rest of them when I have money again. That's the bad thing about being a creator and trying to, put out a new book and stuff. You pour so much money into it and trying to get it out there, and
oh yeah,
like mine, mine's a novel, and I'm trying to push it out there because eventually, once they finish the origin story of Xeno Nanite Titan and they finish the first 3 books, I'm doing a comic book series, but I wanted to kind of introduce the origin story and not do like what Marvel did with Wolverine, and 60 plus years later they're like, oh, we're going to do X-Men Origins Wolverine, and it's like nobody cares now. I mean, everybody's had 60 plus years to figure out their own origin story for him. I like it like the Punisher. You get the origin story up front, what happened to him. His is kind of short, so they it was included in the story, but mine isn't. There's a lot of unknown answers that it's kind of hard to do 4 or 5 comic books on to try to explain this guy's powers and how he acquires things. So, and this was kind of my way of showing off my pros and as a writer, and trying to find an artist out there that wants to work with me and say, hey, I really loved the origin story that you put out there, and I hear you want to do a comic book. I'd love to do the art for it. I'm really into it. That way, we have a symbiosis as far as a book goes, because if you got somebody that's not really into the story, it's going to show in the end product.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back to Trisha's question about the books.
Yeah, sorry.
So, one thing we weren't supposed to be doing was pitching our own stuff, guys. So remember that. Besides your own work. So, Michael, now that you've defended Image, do you want to chime in with the book?
Yeah, you know why? Because it does have the big eye on it, but it's also from Shadowline, but it's the Rat Queens. If she likes princesses and zombies and stuff, Rat Queens is kind of a Dungeons and Dragons book. If it was made by punk musicians, where that punk lifestyle kind of with your dragons and your magic and everything like that. So it's a real good book. It's funny, and it carries really well.
And she said she likes supernatural books, by the way. That's what she's identified it. So think supernatural, JD. What do you got? What's a supernatural book that you would suggest?
I would suggest Wellkeeper by D. Fish. That's actually a very good book. She's an incredible artist, great writer. Another book, not science. This is a science fiction book, not necessarily, but it is a very good book by Sean Wang, Runners. It was a fun book. And then from Image, Birthright, I think, is a fun book, and East of West. Those are two good books. But two books I would definitely suggest for anyone would be Cerebus by Dave Sim. We all know it. We know he has issues, but if you look at some of the earlier stuff, the stuff is incredible. And probably Grendel by Matt Wagner, especially some of like the Hunter Rose series. That's a segment of it that I really enjoyed.
Meredith, and then I'll chime in and see, make sure that.
I'm gonna skip that because I am not nearly as well read. So I'm still looking for the piece that really, really speaks to me, where I am so enamored with it that I have to have this series. So I'll get back to you on that.
One thing I would suggest is anthologies where you see different people, like The Advocator was one. Even though I'm behind it, there are so many other people involved in it. It's a great way to learn other things, because it sounds like you're just coming out of your shell. Because I saw your comment about Belial. It sounds like you're willing to experiment on different genres. So find books like that, and you can find their different creators in it. Because if you like supernatural, one of the things I will say is that Mary Shelby, I believe, who created Frankenstein?
Mary Shelley, that's right.
I am saying it right. Yeah.
Mary Shelley. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. There's this comic now about her granddaughter. It's amazing. It is really phenomenal. And I think you'll like the supernatural hooks that have in that book. For real indie, if you want to go deep in indie, supernatural, Chuck has The Void. He has Welcome to the Void, which is very supernatural driven. He's that way. Who else do I see? I'm not a supernatural guy as much, so I don't really pay attention to that world as much as I do other things. Like if you said horror fetish or monsters or superheroes, I have a dozen, but that's the one genre I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest.
You could drop in like Harrow County by Cullen Bunn.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe The Sixth Gun by Cullen Bunn.
Yes, The Sixth Gun. There you go. I know I'm going to get in trouble for that. I know people are going to get mad at me because I don't do that as much supernatural stuff. But yeah, I don't a supernatural kind of. It's like horror. If I want to see something unbelievable or scary, I turn on CNN. I just pay attention.
That killed. I killed that conversation.
Michael said it. Michael actually just picked up some copies of The Advocator. So, Trish is his wife. So you guys are going to pick up The Advocator. There you go. And you can always follow comicbookadvocates.com for the list of books that we're always doing on this Comics Newswire. We're doing Kickstarters for things that aren't even for us. So Michael's been part of it. Meredith's been part of it. JD's been part of Backer Pause. We showcase everyone's different stuff. And I saw Pop said the listener live on Kickstarter right now. He threw in that suggestion. So there you go. There are a couple titles. And thank you for supporting Kickstarter, by the way, because I did see you guys mention that you support Kickstarter, including Belial. So that is really awesome. I really appreciate you guys supporting the creators. And remember that, always share it when you back it. Always share it when you back it. Make sure everyone else sees what you're doing. And here's the list I have for the books to read. And
let me ask a quick question. And it might not be a quick answer, though. So to what Trish was saying earlier, as far as, like kind of that whole feel of nepotism, because, when we get on each other's shows and things like that, we're kind of pitching our own things and we're supporting one another. It kind of feels like an echo chamber. Is it?
Not my show, because we go out of our way to get to the bigger audiences. I can tell you, you've seen more new people on my show constantly because we leave the doors open. We leave the doors wide open, just like Indie Volt. Indie Volt's always getting new people on their programming. So I would say no for an echo chamber. I think that you've seen me, Meredith, reach out to new people, deliberately trying to find the next new talent to showcase them. I don't just, I mean, you watched me cancel a show because it became an echo chamber. Yeah. So I think for me, once it becomes the same people, I inherently need to go out and see where there's new blood, because I can't just be in that bubble because I'm not learning. And I love the people I'm associated with. Don't get me wrong. I want them on my programs, but I want to bring in that new guy. And I love having that new guy or new girl because they don't know, and we can do like inner jokes and run jokes on them, but we make them part of the community in the same moment. We kind of break them in. When you have someone new show up to your shows, it's the most amazing. I mean, Michael Lanning was not someone I knew a year ago. Mm-hmm. Me and JD weren't as close as we are now. Meredith, me and you didn't know each other a year. We were just meeting each other about this time a year ago. This is the first time I've ever hung out with Russell Allen. So I don't see it that way. I see there's always an opportunity to meet new people in this industry. Does it become an echo chamber? Sometimes, because you know what? Here's the truth. Some of us stay around a long time. And when we stay around a long time, you become like a band of brothers. Right, JD?
Yep.
Like, because you trust those people. Wait, this guy's been around 5 years. He ain't no joke.
Well, I definitely want to hear from JD and Russell, because you both have your own shows as well. So how do you deal with that? And do you find that it's an echo chamber, or do you kind of do the same thing with Rob? Always seeking new blood and things like that, and hoping that what you do as an advocator and talking about comics is reaching a broader audience.
Yeah, I know for myself, I'm constantly reaching out to new people, and I'm always trying to constantly reach out to people I don't know. Because I know a lot of people in the industry, and what I try to do is I try to interview one person I know, and whenever I interview that person, I always try to contact someone I don't know, if not one or two people I don't know. So that's how I keep it flowing for me. Because, yeah, I mean, I've met tons of people that I've never known before this, So, I mean, it's fantastic to reach out and just meet new people.
Mm-hmm. Russell, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's like today. So, tonight I have a show with, somebody that I don't even know. I constantly will scroll through any of the comic book pages, and I'll look for, an indie creator that I've never spoke to, or I'll be in a live like one of these, and, somebody be talking about their book, and, I'll reach out to them, add them as a friend, and send them a message and say, hey, do you want to be on the show? So I've never even talked to this guy. The 15 minutes that we talk before we go live tonight will be the only time I've ever talked to them. But, I'm actively always looking for new people. And sometimes I circle back around, to my close circle of artists and creators that I know really well, if they got a new project coming out, and, I'll have them on. But, I don't see it as an echo chamber, because we don't really get on completely to talk about the project. We talk about it a little bit, but it's more over, BS and have a good time, having an off the rails show, and getting to know who these people are and what their inspirations are for what they're doing.
And the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because a lot of times the viewing audience, they're kind of stuck in their own little circle. So if you find that that's all you're seeing is them swapping each other's books and talking about that and things like that, maybe you need to find some new shows.
Yeah.
People like JD's show, Russell Allen's Russ Explodes show. Pops Van Zandt, he's got guests on. Indie Volt is another one. Broaden your viewership as far as what shows you're listening to, and check out other groups. Now, I've been in quite a few Facebook groups, and I quickly left because they were negative. And they weren't really helping people. And anybody who had a question, they were just put down like, oh, that's a stupid thing, or, being laughed at and mocked. And that's not cool. Get out of those. You don't need that poison in your life, and broaden your reach as a viewer.
I would also add to that, Meredith, that projects like The Advocator and the upcoming Terraformed Continuum are designed literally to build a bigger understanding of every comic book creator out there. We don't really want to do themes because we want you to constantly pick up a book and be surprised about what you're reading. That is the goal of what these things are. It's why I suggest anthology. It's why I like doing the work I did on The Advocator. I'm going to love what we're going to do with Terraform Continuum, because it's getting all these different creators excited and just creating something. So often there's so much pressure. I have to sell this comic book. I have to make the money back. Wait, 10 pages, 4 pages, and I can be part of something and I can get people to read my book? Hell yeah. I'll give you 4 pages. That's the point. And it's just about the energy. So it's a great question, Meredith, and I do see what you're saying with echo chambers. And I hate that. When we get outside of the people I trust to be the co-anchors on the show at CNW, because I think the news does need a familiar voice. I think
Yes.
familiar voices matters, because then you're seeing like I can joke on this show, but during the news I don't joke as much. I'll put down maybe like Stallone, or I'll put down that, but we don't comment on fellow creators' stuff. We only give advice and try to make better, even with backer pause. I love backer pause because we're showcasing so many different things. If you have a crowdfunding thing, all you have to do is agree to the terms. That I'm looking at you, JD, still haven't agreed to them. All you have to do is agree to the terms, and we put you on the show, and we pick apart your video based on our actual real life experience watching it. You get real feedback. Like today, you saw Jax get excited, run over as he's eating after he played with Play-Doh. I hate that when kids play with Play-Doh and then they eat with their hands. They didn't wash them. Ugh. So
Play-Doh.
I know.
Problem solved.
But we had Jax just grab the books and get so excited. You want that. It's live reviews. That's why it's so important. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Michael, for supporting, sharing, and being part of this, because you're part of the industry. Fans are part of the industry, and it's something a lot of independent creators have forgotten. Did you need to take another bump, or am I off?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
All right, sad news. Star Wars creator George Lucas says goodbye to the Darth Vader original actor David Prowse. Sad news, Star Wars fans. I mean, there's not much to talk about. We're all sad about it. We don't like to see that. So this was Monday. We did all the cyber deal stuff on Monday. I think, JD, you gave me something for yours, right? I think
No,
we talked about it was in the pitch. You put yours in the pitch. We did the
Right.
pitch as well. We did elevator pitches and that. And you see, look, I made up the ad. Here it is. This is about the elevator pitches. Teaching morals with farts, guys. A tale of conflict of bullying addressed by farts that teaches morals, which invites new readers and rewards all comic fans with laughter. These are what we're talking about with elevator pitches. Here's The Advocator. The Advocator is a collection of indie franchises trying to entice you with a short tale from their universe. How cool is that? Go ahead, Meredith.
And I want you to tell people how they can actually get their things on the news when we talk about that.
Send us an email. Comics Newswire. Yahoo, I think it is. I always look because of my dyslexia. I just want to make sure I get it right. So give me 1 second. Because I usually, at this point, we have it in the show listed. Yeah, it's Comics, COMIX, Newswire at yahoo.com. Plus, we use Gmail, too. So you always have to know which one you're doing.
Now, can they also tag something in the Facebook group?
Well, I was going to get to that. We also have, under the same name, Comics Newswire Facebook group. So literally type in on Facebook, COMIX-NEWS-WIRE, and you get directly to our Facebook group, and it's that easy. And then you're part of the program. We don't even ask you to agree to terms, because by joining the group, you agree to terms. The only thing we ask for in that group is when we're going to watch the video for back and pause. Because I don't think everyone understands what's about to happen to them. When you're gonna, we want you to know we're gonna watch your video and we're gonna be honest about what we see. And sometimes people aren't ready for it. I was talking to someone today. All they did was drop their link. That's what they're doing on social media. They have a crowdfunder. They're dropping their links. No context. Their pitch in their book is very bland and very uninformative. If you want to win fans over, you got to put the energy and effort into it. Imagine if you went up to someone, you wanted them to believe in you. You said, "Yeah, I'm Dave. I'm the best. Back me." You know, unless you're Brad Pitt, and then they'll be like, "Yes, Dave, I'm all in."
And there's a lot of people who actually do that. So.
But it's true. Go above. Like even if your Kickstarter has a great elevator pitch and has that tagline that's perfect, that's enough. But a lot of these people don't even have that. A 30-page comic book. Oh, thanks for that. Now I know how many pages it is. Wonderful. Let me go out and back your 30-page comic that I don't know shit about. And then and then they told me, "Oh, all the information's in my Kickstarter page." I'm like, "You're missing it. You're now telling me that I'm obligated to go search for your information. Mm-hmm. You're not making me click right away. Me click."
Yeah, I mean, even when we do the Newswire.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
It's really frustrating when, to what Rob was saying, is like, check out my Kickstarter. Why? If you're not going to put the effort in to give us a pitch and tell us what it's about, and you don't need paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, okay? We don't need that. What you need is that pitch, and maybe it's not vocal, but write it down. Give us something to read that entices the reader to click it. And head over and see what you're doing.
Absolutely, and it's true. Perfect thing. When you're giving us art, just don't go, "My new art." Oh, yeah. Is it going in a book? Is this just art? Are you doodling? And I will not pick, when you put it in our thing, by the way, when you put it in our group, it's not guaranteed it goes on the news. I have to make sure that it lines up both with integrity. So if you're putting an ad that I think is suspicious, I'll ask you. I'll message you personally. I won't call it out in the group, but I'll be like, "Hey, what is this?" And if it's just art, I'll right there in front of everyone, "Hey, what's this for? Explain it to me," because I have to say it live on. And Meredith's been there, and Michael's been there when we're like, "So this is John. John's got a book coming out.
Yeah,
check it out."
So nice.
John's awesome.
Speaking of
John, someone who knows the gift of gab, John Celestri, just said BT. I don't know what BT is, but thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, John. Good
All right, John. Yeah, and again, with pitches, really simple. Here, top of the thing, the perfect gift to unleash desire this holiday season. There you go, right away. If you know someone freaky, you're like, "Ooh, I got him a gift." Your taglines, "After a lifetime of hiding who she is, Barbara begins exploring her dark fantasies." See how these things make people's minds go. If 50 Shades was written by an adult who knew what they were talking about, Jack, stop that. Do not put your feet in there. That's where the rolls go. Oh, my goodness. And things are falling apart behind me. And then, make sure you put the price of something and how to get in touch with you. And then, I put table pricing sale because I want people to ask me, "What's table pricing sale?" so I can explain it. Remember, start conversations with people. This is what you want. JD, I got to give credit to. Always does a good job. He always gives me content to read. I have to give him a lot of credit for that. I've never seen him just drop an ad. Even his taglines are good. His videos, oh my. His videos, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Like that. Those are, oh my. But otherwise, no, his last video, though, not for this one. I haven't seen his newest one, but his last one was quick and we loved it. It got right down to it. We were like, yeah, nothing to talk shit about. And JD's here. Damn. It's always more fun when they're there. All right, so here we go. Moving on, and then of course the Advocate. Did the Advocator twice? Yeah, it is. Okay, the Advocator was just twice. Then we had the Kickstarter to back this week was Modin's Elysian Fields. We didn't do a vote this week because there's literally 5 Kickstarters, and I just chose it. I will put it up for vote now, but there's like again 3 or 4 projects. So if you have a project, and I'm sure JD will say yes to the term, so he's going to be one of the 4 or 5 that are left. If you have a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, yes, I cover Indiegogo, even though they screw me over. And one day I'm going to rant and cry about that when I finally finish my story. I don't know how it ends, and I hate telling a story without the ending. Once I have my ending, Indiegogo, you're in trouble. But back Modin's soft cover collector edition. So he's got some different variants. He's also still in Indiegogo. That's why we put that up. He's in demand. All right, and let's see some videos. This is Wednesdays. Meredith is now the temporary stand-in co-host for Geekasm, right? You'll be on Wednesdays at 9 p.m.?
Yes, sir. And I'll be sitting with Daphne Lage, and actually Lola, the Indie Princess, made an appearance with her shoe cam, so maybe I'll be able to pass the mic back to her pretty soon.
Well, we hope she's recovering well, and we look forward to her regaining the reins of the operation as it was. Save Daredevil trends as rights officially return to Marvel. That's right, Marvel just got back most of their, I think most, not all of their MCU Netflix stuff. I think there's Punisher's still out. I know it all depended when it was made. Daredevil's definitely back, but I think a couple of the other characters have a few months till they come back. What do you guys think about this? Would you like to see them just pick up where they left off and put it on Disney Plus? No changes, no nothing, just act like it just different channel?
I'm gonna let somebody else start because I've already talked about this.
Yeah, JD saw this already.
Yeah,
Mike already saw this.
Yeah, for myself, I think they, like, for the most part, I think they should keep the actors, but I think they should reboot. I've always felt like I like the Daredevil stuff, and I liked most of what they were doing, but most of it felt like with Daredevil, I don't know, it just didn't feel like a Marvel thing, for me, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would have just liked to see something a little bit more polished out of them. The stories be a little bit more cohesive. The only one I think I really liked was the one Alias. What's the one with the lady who she has powers and she's a detective?
Oh, Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones, because it's based off the Alias comic that that Bendis did. So yeah, that one I actually really liked the best. But like Daredevil, and like I said, I like all the actors. I especially love the dude who played Power Man.
Yeah,
I thought that guy was incredible. I would
Mike
love
Coulter.
to see him back. Yeah, I would love to see him come back. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, just something a little bit more polished.
Russell, anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add. I honestly haven't watched it. I don't really watch a whole lot of shows and TV, to be honest. Like, I mean, I watch movies and stuff like that, but I've never actually seen the Daredevil show. I've watched a few episodes of The Punisher, but I'm always busy between work and everything. I don't get a chance to watch
Meredith,
much.
Michael, you want to chime in?
I think I agree with JD. I would love to see a reboot.
Yes.
For me, I've been watching these. That last season of Daredevil was so epic. I really enjoyed what they did with what they started to do with Bullseye and what they were foreshadowing to. I'd like to have seen that, but I gotta agree with JD. I think the best one was Jessica Jones. If they were going to pick one up from where it was, I would like them to pick up Jessica Jones. Although it had its way, the way that it ended well. But you could go on, but I don't know. I kind of like. So I'd like to see some more Hellcat in there too. But yeah, Jessica Jones is really good. And of course, I like Luke Cage. I knew a lot of people who liked the Luke Cage show with Mike Coulter. I would like to see an actual Power Man and Iron Fist, but Heroes for Hire. I'd like to see them do that instead. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I hated was that they gave us baby Iron Fist, like year one Iron Fist. I was like, why couldn't you just give me Iron Fist?
Well, you know what they think they tried to do, because you had the hero. The first Iron Fist is kind of different from the Heroes for hire Iron Fist.
Yeah.
The first Iron Fist, he had those anger issues, but then you had the Heroes for Hire Iron Fist, which is kind of a loose, fun guy. And I think they were trying to mash those two together, but they were almost conflicting. He was loose and he was fun, but then he was angry, and it just didn't go well for him.
No, I just wanted to.
Okay.
I just wanted to see someone who was like Iron Fist, who was Iron Fist. Like he was fully formed. He would have come out. He knew how to fight. He knew how to control his powers. He knew how to do all this stuff instead of giving me, oh well, let's do the baby step thing and train him and all that crap. I mean, look, I mean, he had to go through training at some point. Just give me the guy.
Yeah, I agree with JD. You have to stop giving us origins. We know who these characters are. And if they don't know who they are and they like it, they'll go back and buy comic books, you assholes. Let them go back and buy comic books. Let them go figure out the origins through comic books. You guys get the movies. Make a fucking movie. Like, I love that they did that with Spider-Man. They kind of caught him at a weird point in his origin. We were established enough that we invited a new audience, but an older audience knew what had happened when Tony wasn't around. It was exciting. And I agree. I think you bring all the actors back and you do like a multi-version where they come into the MCU. We know who they are, but we don't know about their characters because they're the same actors and they're playing a character, but they're not the same character that they were playing in Netflix because it's a different universe. I think that'd be so cool because you could slowly learn about them in a cool new way. Like, what's different between this world and Netflix? So I think that's pretty cool. They revealed a new Joker. I think it's cool. It's the new Future Vision, which it is what it is. We're going to see what it is. The Creator Awards are back this year, so stay tuned. You're going to be hearing a lot about that in the coming weeks. When Meredith gets back, I'll see if she wants to announce or we're going to push it off. The Comics News Wire for Thursday's headlines. Daredevil's, speaking of Daredevil, I wanted to get to this. I don't know if you guys know this. He's in jail now, and he's choosing to stay in jail. But the cool thing is, or interesting thing, I don't know how cool it is, he's keeping the persona the whole time he's in prison. He's choosing to be Daredevil locked up. JD?
I don't read any of that stuff.
Okay, so here's the cool thing. While he's in prison, guess who becomes Daredevil in the Hell's Kitchen? Elektra. They're making Elektra actually Daredevil. Now, I know there's a lot of men out there who are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that would become a Daredevil. How could you do that? Mary Sue. Oh my God, Mary Sue. But I think it's cool because everyone knows he's locked up. So now someone's taking over in Hell's Kitchen to make sure Hell's Kitchen's okay while he's gone.
As long as they keep true to the character and she's murdering people, I'm fine with it.
Yes, I think. Well, she kind of got a talking to by Matt, so I don't know how much killing she's going to do, but she's going to break some bones. She's going to hurt some people. So I thought that was cool. Mandalorian here. We saw the debut of Rosario Dawson, which, Michael, I hate you for even trying to say that was a bad movie. Still hurt feelings. I thought that was a good film.
Let's go across the panel here. Who here thought Pluto Nash was a good movie?
Pluto Nash?
See, he doesn't even know it.
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy? I didn't even bother watching it.
But you had to have watched it to actually vote right now, so that eliminates everyone in the room except for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you said it was something bad, I thought you were talking about the episode of the Mandalorian.
No, I thought that was because I had said that Rosario Dawson is one of those people who picks amazing roles. She just knows, and everything she's in is great.
And she was in Pluto Nash.
Yeah, he said Pluto Nash, and I like Pluto Nash. I don't Pluto Nash for life, yo.
Were you 10 when you first saw it?
No, I was like 16, 17, 18, like around that age group. So I remember they made fun of him pretty harsh for how bad it flopped. Like that was a flop. Like everyone was like, "Ooh, shit, that was bad." Like they were looking in theaters, like seriously, not one motherfucker.
See, there you go.
Now, how much weed were you?
He got panned by critics. That was why he got beat up so bad. I think there's.
I watched that movie. I don't think that's the only reason why.
But also, it aged well. There's no way that movie aged well. So you had to kind of have watched it.
No, a couple of days after it came out, it just didn't hold up to the age.
See, I probably watched it, but it's like a repressed memory.
Probably would be.
Rosario Dawson was on The Mandalorian,
but she's a fantastic actress. So don't everybody. That's when she's coming up and she's finding her steps. So
sad news that DuckTales is wrapping up. Just play the bagpipes. It's over. But we will be getting a new Darkwing Duck. So that's kind of how Disney is, and cartoons in general. You wrap down the last show to start the new show. Same thing with comics. Sometimes you kill a motherfucker so you can make a new story. DC Comics future state plans revealed. This is what we're going to be talking about all week. There's been news dropping the whole weekend about things with these characters. Swamp Thing and how Swamp Thing has changed. He's got horns now. Motherfucker got horns. He looks badass. And now not 11 days away, but just a few days away. And this is why it's news. This is how 2020 has been. Just there being a convention is like not only breaking news, but headline news. They're advertising it publicly. Oh, my God. It's actually going to still happen. What? Fauci is pissed. It's happening in Florida. And I know everyone's going to be like, of course. But hey, we can still go outside as you're all boxed in. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, we're really not trying to kill our seniors.
Listen, man, economics.
You're going straight to hell, Rob.
They're just open mouths. That's all they are.
JD just got nervous. JD just got nervous. He's like, what?
They're just open mouths. That's all they are.
As the resident boomer on the panel, JD.
I am X, sir. I am X.
I am Gen X. Thank you very much. We don't give a shit about anything and anybody.
He's holding on to the X as it's lifting away from him.
I am firmly there, sir. Firmly there.
All right. Apparently, Marvel has solved the fact of deaths and resurrection problem. They decided that they shouldn't happen all the time. Imagine that. I guess COVID, with everyone dying, taught them that when you die, you don't come back. No one's coming back. Maybe we should start doing that in our comics, guys. What do you think? Oh, yeah. My grandma died. She didn't come back yet. That's going to get an email. That one's, my grandma really did die this year, you monster. You absolute monster. So, Meredith, did you want to talk about the special awards that you guys are going to be part of this year?
The awards that we're doing. So Geek Insider is, I think we're taking the art side of it as far as the awards. And help me with the name of it. For some reason,
the advocate recognition that you want.
Yeah. Yes. So we've got a lot of different categories as far as art. So it'll be like cover art, sequential art, and things like that. And Geek Insider is very proud to be a part of that.
And the awards show, of course, is going to be broken up this year into 4 different segments across all of February and March.
No, they're going to be it's art and
crowdfunding, creation, art, writing. Each category will have its own different awards. It's all people choice this year. After this year, let me be honest, in this room, does anyone feel like being judged by another person? Would any of you want to have like a group of people judge your work, or would you rather just hear from the fans and just see what the fans pick and let's play with the fans? Let's just have fun with it this year, right? It's still a serious award show. We're just making a people's choice. I don't think there's anything wrong, or fans' choice, more importantly, fans. So, yeah, we're going to see some stuff. You're going to see popularity contests happening, but it's also a good reminder to motivate your base to be part of it. Due to the awkwardness of the year, I actually don't think I can be in any of the categories that are flat out, because I didn't release enough this year. I have so much pending, or we've stalled it to hit 2021 that I won't be in this much. But JD put out 35 books this year. He'd be in every category.
JD's a beast.
JD he started 15 series.
No, I just got the 2. I got Tall Tales and the Ozo Chronicles. That's it.
No, don't let him lie to you, man. His wife's books, he's behind that. He just doesn't want to put his name on the dirty one. He at least owns copies. He owns copies of the furry book.
Of course I do.
I have her sketchbook, actually. It's pretty good.
Listen, I used to write porn. I'm not ashamed of it. I made a good living.
So he's the guy who you could think for a little deeper. And only in porn, that hole's fine too.
Hey, but that's a classic.
My favorite is Boom Chicka Boom Bam. That's my favorite.
Bow chicka wow wow.
some
And we're
love,
going sideways again here.
some love from Marv. That the
Thank you, Marvy.
interview was a great show, Meredith. Congratulations. Yeah, I think that this year with the awards, we wanted to. We're hoping JD puts in. So we're gonna acknowledge the different shows. And I was talking about this with a bunch of people this week. We've seen a lot of shows sort of go away, and we saw an influx of all these shows. Everyone and their mother was doing a show, and now everyone and their mother stopped doing a show. And you're starting to see the people who are really going to survive into the next year. So we will look at that for longevity. People who did constant shows. So if you put out 2 shows this year, you won't be eligible for an award. Unless you call it like a special. We talked about like just a special, like educational panels, stuff like that. We just want to acknowledge people. This year sucked. So we want to end it and start it with acknowledging the people who did stuff. And I did a lot of stuff. I did stuff with Terraform and that. It's sometimes you get a year where you don't have as much to show for. Because you spent, and I had that when we redid Barbara Unleashed last year. It kind of stalled momentum. But then I wound up with the BDSM survey. This year, I was part of the Oz. I'm part of the 8-page challenge, which you guys should be tuning into at 1 p.m. over on Comics. Comics Talk? What is it? Comic Talk? Meredith, help me out. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Comics Cast?
There it is. Thank you. Comics Cast. Thank you, Meredith.
Okay.
Thank you. What I was talking about. They're going to be doing something at 1 o'clock, so we're going to wrap up. That's kind of why I just suddenly drawn. CromCon is something that a lot of credit, and I see Pops over there talking about it. A lot of credit to him. He kept it going all year, where other people didn't. I mean, Indie Volt, Geek Insider, slew of shows. JD, slew of shows this year. I hope
Russell Allen's doing a slew of shows. You know,
I hope they all get acknowledged for what they've done. This is one of those years where, and you've seen it. Some people were ham with it. Some people like, hey, what's up, guys? This is my new show we're going to do every week. It's going to be the best show ever. Best show ever. It's up here. Let's talk about how comics are really just storyboards.
No, gosh. No. Wow. Things that won't die, huh?
Never.
things that won't die.
Yeah, Rob, don't goof on yourself like that. Your show's a little bit better than that.
I've been putting a lot of work in.
Just a little bit, huh?
Thank you, JD. Thank you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
From your ears to God's ears, you know?
Now, so, Rob, we don't want to stop on what's happening with the comic book school. So why don't we go around the room and let people actually pitch their things so people know where to find them and where to follow them, what they're working on. And then we can get out of here pretty quickly. All right, so, hey, Jax. I love that laser gun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess in the order that we came in, first or going in reverse. Let's add Russell Allen up here. What are you working on? Pitch your book, and where can people find you?
I'm Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. You can find me. Just Google Russ Explode. You can see it there on the screen. They will take you to everything. My Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, my website, all that stuff. I do a show Sundays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central. Come check it out. Always trying to push, indie creators, trying to get people's work out there. It's a bad time. There's no cons. So this is my way of trying to help out all the indie creators and saying, look at their stuff, help them out, keep them going because we all have it rough. Also, right now, I have my project on Kickstarter that I've been working on. I'm really excited about it. It's freaking awesome. Xenon Anti-Titan.
And thank you, Mike James Bankston, for sharing the link on Facebook. We appreciate you for doing that.
Thanks, Mike, for popping that in there.
Let me pull in JD here. There you go.
How you doing, everybody? My name is JD Calderon. I'm the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles, currently on Indiegogo, where, we have My Time with Clive, where Oswald is fighting demons, saving angel babes, and having great adventures. And along with that is this book. It's a prose book, What My Eyes See, I Cannot Tell, where it goes into where Oswald's been while he was in Dream. And it has awesome illustrations by Daphne Lage, Jay Gonzalez, Aurelio Tillis, and my other two artists I'm forgetting. But that's the cover, and the art is fantastic, and that's the other book. So it's all 3 books available right now on Indiegogo.
Indiegogo. All right. And if you guys could drop your links in the private chat, that way we can share it out as well. See Michael Lanning. Let's get you up on the big screen here. I can't hear you.
I can't hear him still either.
Yeah. Drop down.
That's all right. Well, try and pop out and come back in.
Hold on. My name is Michael Lanning, and I work with Silver Line. I bring beautiful art to life. You got it. It kicked in. Unmute yourself, and it should work now.
That's better.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm Steve Michael Lanning, independent artist, and currently working at Silverline on a book called The Rejects. When all the other good superheroes are busy, you have to call the Rejects to help you out. And of course, we'll be doing some stuff with our very own Meredith Loughran coming up, and just look for that. And I'm going to end it abruptly because Rob says I do that.
Oh. All right, I'm going to pop myself in here. So I'm Meredith Loughran, executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast. But I am writing. I'm actually getting ready to look at that. I've got metal cards right now for the Compendium of Dread. This is my anthology of horror. And what I'm doing with this is really kind of cool. I'm taking a lot of the stories and I am scripting them out to be comic books. And actually the first one has 8 pages going into Terraform Continuum. I'm very excited about that. So that is actually going to be up on Amazon very soon. And I'm kickstarting it as well for those who are into comic books and who want to kind of see the journey of pros going into comics. And I'll be teasing out some of the art that I've got for the dying. So very exciting stuff, making progress, and stay tuned. I'll have more news on that this coming week. Rob, I'm going to put you up on the big screen.
Nothing going on here. Nothing to see. Here. For everyone to see and smile, I give you your holiday cheer. That's exactly how I feel and what I say. Follow me at MrAndersin.com and subscribe to comicbookadvocates.com today and join the Comics Newswire by going to Facebook and literally typing in Comics Newswire. Well, thank you all for being on today. It was a great show. Remember to send your emails to yourself because I won't be responding to your hate. So tag yourself in your hateful emails. We're out of here. Thanks for being part of it. We'll see you maybe tomorrow. We might have enough news for a news show tomorrow. Actually, might be a half an hour condensed version, but the weekend might have had some stuff. We're waiting to see with the CFPX, and we're out of here. You guys later.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, wrong one. Meredith made a really pretty one we have to use. Check this out. It's worth sitting through the whole one. There's so many fantastic people. He's just destroying the house. I'm serious. All right, this time I'm serious. Wasn't that great, though? Wasn't that awesome? I thought it was.